Good evening, everybody. We are now starting the Parents' Evening. I'm not sure if you can see me or not, if I'm honest. So if you can just let me know if you can, that would be really helpful. No, let me try, so that makes it a little bit more interactive with us, with everybody. Doesn't seem like that's working at all, does it? You can see me. Can you see me? Excellent. I can't see myself, but so long as you can see me, that's absolutely fine. So good evening and welcome to our Parents' Evening for this evening. This is a Parents' Evening for people that are in year one of a sixth form or a college and sort of looking to start university in 2022. Our agenda for this evening is sort of fairly sharp and sort of condensed, really, so that you've got really everything that you need to know about. So we're starting off with Gareth, who's going to give you an overview of making the most of your sort of post-16 activities. And then Curtis is going to come and tell you why go to university. So all the sort of pros and cons reasons why you need to go to university, really. And that's general. You know, we are giving you the reasons from the University of Lincoln, but it is absolutely to give you a really unbiased sort of picture this evening. We've got two of our really great students. So we've got Nat and Callum. We're going to tell you about life at Lincoln. So as a student, life as it is. They're both second and third year sort of students. So they are students that have been a student pre-COVID and currently in that sort of situation. They are brilliant. And then at 10 to 7, what we have is one of our alumni, Mary Francis, and she's going to come and tell us all about her experience at Lincoln and also her experience since leaving the University of Lincoln. At 7:05, what we're going to do is give you the chance to ask us questions, but we don't want you to leave your questions until then. So on the side panel, if you see on your screen, on the side, you can ask questions and we will be here all evening to answer those questions with you. So please type in there. If you don't want to actually speak, then please don't worry, just ask the questions on the side. If you do want to ask questions, then the opportunity is at 7:05, and please do so. We're more than happy to answer those at that stage. Can I ask that everybody mute their mic for the presentations, and I will close now because it is sort of 6:05, so that we're still on track with our agenda, and hand over to Gareth, who's going to talk to you about making the most of post-16. You just bear with us for a second or two just while we have that transition. That'd be really helpful. So thank you very much, and I hope this is going to help you. Thank you.
Right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As Emma said, my name is Gareth and I am the Schools and Colleges Liaison Manager here at the university. And I'm going to spend about 10 minutes talking to you about how your son or daughter can get the most out of post-16, particularly this year, their first year, which is the most important year, funnily enough. Why? And it is a big why, is because if they get this year right, next year will be so much easier for them. If they get it wrong, next year it's likely to be a mad panic, a rush, and taking the focus off what is important, which will be getting the most from their qualifications. What they should have realised by now, having already had one term at it, is there is a big step up in the level of academic ability from year 11. Although studying far fewer subjects, the intensity and the focus of each increases. There is much more emphasis on evaluation and reflection of a subject, wider understanding, rather than just the description, the narrative. So much more effort is needed to fully understand those subjects. Done right, and it will develop their transferable skills as well in areas such as time management, teamwork, self-reliance and communication, all of which universities and employers look for in a good candidate. So maybe ask them how they're getting on adjusting to their new subject or subjects. What sort of a reaction do you get? They are probably already taking it all in their stride. A quick chat can work wonders. Plus, it shows you're taking a real interest in their study. The other really important area for them as students this year is post-18. What are they going to do after school or college? The earlier a start made on this, the better. Some listening may know their son or daughter is already set, but there will be many that aren't. Research is definitely the key to all this, and you can help as parents, very much so. So let's have a look at what I mean in a little bit more detail. They and you may have thought that taking as many qualifications as possible is the best thing to do. But for the vast majority of people, it's biting off more than they can chew, and it's bound to do more harm than good. Quality will always outrank quantity in every case. Take A-levels, for instance. 3 good grades will always be viewed better than 4 mediocre ones. They certainly won't be thought of any less by universities or employers for doing it, and that goes for any qualification. As I already mentioned as well, post-16 qualifications are a big step up academically. To cope with this change, proper organisation and effective time management is vital. You can help by asking if they're staying on top of coursework and homework, by starting it as soon as possible, and ensuring that they're not afraid to ask questions of teachers or tutors if there's something that they don't understand. Does your son or daughter have a routine that incorporates plenty of study time at home, as wider reading around a subject is vital at this level? If they do and use to-do lists to help maximise productivity and prioritise study and homework tasks, they should also be rereading on what's been covered to consolidate new knowledge, all things that you can encourage. Relying on just textbooks or Google to answer questions that they're being asked of isn't ideal either. Universities and employers will look to people who can demonstrate wider thinking and research. They will give different ways of looking at the syllabus that may help them absorb vital information more easily and it become more successful for them. Revision equally as well is something that they don't just do in the lead up to exams. Past papers are really useful ways of gauging what level a student is working at currently. Encourage them to start doing past papers whenever they reach the end of each module that they're studying, whatever subject that might be. This forces them to revise what's been covered for that module, and importantly, they fully understood it. It should also show the difference between where they think they are with their learning and understanding and what is really happening to them. As I've already mentioned, this year is the year to seriously start considering what they want to be doing in 2 years' time. Don't let them leave it too late. They will have enough to contend with next year. If it's higher education, they must really start to find out more about where and what they want to study and visiting those places on an open day, be it currently virtual or hopefully physically in the future. Certainly, fingers crossed, next year we're back to physical open days, because if we're not, we're all in a serious bother. Building up useful experience and knowledge is another thing that's going to be needed this year. It can be vital. Work experience in an area related to their chosen university subject, for instance, which may be vital for their application. Or take up a new hobby or pursue an existing one to a higher level. Or anything that demonstrates quality and qualities such as teamwork, dedication, hard work and communication. ideal because they're really good to write about in a personal statement or a CV. I know I've spoken at length about studying hard and looking to the future. However, there is a balance between academic life, leisure and rest, and that is essential to get right. Studying hard is a given to get your son and daughter where they want to be, but make sure they never forget to relax. If the focus is solely on academic work, then most will suffer from it and for it in the long run. They do need to get that mix right, and it will not be an instant fix. So it is working out what is the right balance for them. So after all I've said, what are my top tips for surviving a post-16 first year? As I've just spoken about, make sure your son and daughter keep going and doing what they enjoy. It's definitely not all work and no play. Throughout the year, they'll have people telling them how to study, when to study, and what to study. In class, they must listen to the teacher when told how, when, and what. But as for independent study, they have the flexibility to find out what suits them best, as long as deadlines are met. It might be they are sharpest in the evening, not too late though, as sleep is an important factor here as well, or early in the morning. It will take them time to find out though, so don't be surprised if you hear someone moving around early in the morning because they want to see if they can actually study better at that time. A good system for note-taking equally is essential, and over the past few years they may have done really well in adapting to the system that they need. Or notes may have slowly gotten more convoluted, disorganised, or in worst cases non-existent at all. It is important, notes at this level, that they have good quality note-taking. If the latter is the case, it's going to be time to brush up on some of those must-have productivity skills. A good note-taking regime that they can understand will save a great deal of time and effort in the long run. Just check their work, ask them, just offer advice and guidance. Keeping things in perspective as well. There will be times when all students, become stressed and the pressure gets to them. It is how they deal with it and you deal with it. Your support will be essential. Just remember, there are lots of pathways to anywhere where they want to go. Sometimes instead of taking the direct route, they have to work out how to take the scenic one. It's very easy to get caught up in the trap of comparing their marks and results to those of friends and peers. Try to get them to avoid this at all cost. Everyone has different abilities, knowledge and skills, which means they shouldn't compare themselves to others. Equally, if your son or daughter is struggling with something, be it a topic in class or just study in general, it's a good idea to get them to talk to somebody early before stress starts to build up too much. This could be as simple as seeking out a teacher before class or chatting to you about their study setup at home. Tell them there's always somebody to talk to if they need it. Ultimately, what I've described for most students will be a walk in the park, and they will wonder what you were fussing about. If what I have said makes a difference to just one and gives them the impetus, with your help, to go on to bigger and better things, then it's been worthwhile. Thank you for listening. I'm now going to hand over to Curtis, talking to you about why go to university in a few minutes' time. Many thanks.
Thanks very much, Gareth. That's really helpful. Now, if we introduce Curtis.
I don't know if you can see me or hear me. Hopefully you can.
We can.
Brilliant. Thank you. That is fantastic, Emma. Okay, thanks, Gareth. My name is Curtis, and I'm the London Stakeholder Manager here at the University of Lincoln. So this evening, I'll be giving you a brief overview about the real value of going to university, which hopefully will help you understand why it could be the right choice for you if you're a student watching this, or for your child if you're a parent. Brilliant. Okay, so why should you go to university? What is the motivation for you to do that? Well, could it be for a subject that you enjoy? Could it be a particular job, the location, the type of campus, the type of course that's available? Or maybe perhaps it be the course accreditation, something that you want to do additionally. Everybody goes to university for different reasons, and there's no right answer. Okay, so hopefully if you're a student or a parent watching this, me addressing some of these topics will give you a better idea, a better understanding about what to expect and whether it is the right choice. Okay, so going to university is seemingly a very big decision, but what's the real value of it? Okay, so most people who have a degree will start higher on the jobs ladder, and there's someone who doesn't. And research has also shown that promotion prospects are much better, so they typically seem to do better. So in general, the jobs that they apply for are seemingly more interesting and demanding, which could test your abilities to the full. Okay? Salaries, therefore, also usually are higher because of what I've just mentioned. Equally, as the UK degrees are internationally recognised, if graduates do want to eventually, work abroad, employers will know that they've studied to a very high standard. As we're lucky that we live and gain our degree from the UK, and we're internationally recognised. And additionally, there are lots of careers where you actually have to have a degree before you can get that job. So some examples being, for example, doctor, vet, lawyer, midwife, nurse, forensic scientist, etc. Okay. So as I mentioned on the previous slide, these are some of the professions that require a degree. However, this is obviously not an exhaustive list. There are many other professions where we could help you get the job that you want. So before I continue, please feel free to just take a quick moment to jot down some of these, or just maybe take a picture with your smartphone of this slide if you're unsure. Okay, I'll just give you a couple of seconds to do that. If anybody wants to kind of grab a pen or get their phone. Okay, moving on then. So transferable skills. So I'm now going to touch on some of the skills students gain at university, which could make them more attractive to employers. Okay, so this is quite an important part. The ways that students communicate will develop at university, not just through presenting, but also written skills and use of academic language. All right, that's really important. Many graduates feel that university helped and developed their confidence with speaking to new people. I can also attest to that myself. Another key skill that you learn is teamwork. So becoming an active team member is essential in all university courses, as although there will be lots of assignments and projects you'll do independently, equally there'll be times where you have to work effectively as part of a team. Presentations go hand in hand with teamwork. So as many projects and assignments you work on will require you to present your findings to your peer group and potentially wider audiences, you also learn how to build your confidence, understand how to address an audience. Okay, new experiences will enable you to become much more confident in your own abilities, whether that is from living independently or just learning and developing new skills. So as we know, when you grow in confidence and independence, your ability to adapt quickly to new situations and surroundings will also grow and improve, along with the ability to think quickly on your feet. During your time at university, without you probably realizing it, the research skills that you've gained will develop, and you could, in theory, even consider a career as a researcher after graduating. That is how much you will depend on research when you're actually studying. Arguably, though, and from my own experience, the most important skill that you develop is time management. Okay, this is probably the biggest one. Students often realize very quickly that no one chases you for work. It's not like in school where you might get detention or you might be held after class or you might get in trouble. Nobody is going to do that at university. You're given deadlines for things, and as an adult, you're expected to meet them, even if you're working under pressure to meet other deadlines. It's all about the way that you manage your time effectively to get the work done. All of the skills I mentioned, employers will expect graduates to have, and if you can develop them to the best of your abilities while at university, you will undoubtedly stand yourself in good stead and be much more attractive for an employer. So I'm just going to move on now to life skills. So many of the skills that you learn at university help develop you as a person and are in many ways invaluable through life in general. Okay, so the first of these is independence. As most students who attend university live away from home, and even those that don't, you'll realize you become much more self-reliant. Okay. Universities are a real mix of diverse cultures, which we think is an amazing thing. And as an example of this, our university has between 50 to 100 different nationalities enrolling on courses every single year. Passions and abilities is not just academic, so all universities give you the chance to play different sports, join clubs and societies, to get into areas like volunteering, whether it's home or abroad. And for example, at Lincoln, we have 55 sports that you can try, from the usual football, rugby or cricket, for example, to more niche such as fencing or water polo. There are even some societies to join to with nearly 90 to choose from. And many are aligned to specific subjects taught at the university, but many more are set up and run by students. For example, a favourite one of ours is the Harry Potter Society, paintballing, or maybe tea drinking society. It could be anything, okay? There's lots for students to do. Tens of thousands of students move away from home when they study, so they get to see a completely different area of the UK. Although slightly more difficult now given the current climate, many degrees also offer the chance of field trips, home and abroad, and exchange study or work in a foreign country. If you're a student, ask yourself, would you have the courage to live abroad for a year? So finally, one of the biggest life skills you'll develop as a student is how to manage your finances, okay? So this is really, really key. You only have a finite amount of money, even if you have a part-time job, so you need to make sure that you have money in place to cover your outgoings, okay? Whether they be living or social related. Universities will also help students that are struggling, both from a monetary perspective, but also an advice point of view. Hopefully, if you do it right, it shouldn't really come to that. If the course does have a work placement option, whether physical or virtual, I personally believe that this is something that's really, really important. Let's look now at how learning is very different to school or college for any students that might be watching. So firstly, it's a mix of lectures, seminars and tutorials with an average about 14 hours a week of academics actually teaching you. These could be backed up by practical sessions in some form, depending on the course that you've chosen. There is also much more flexibility in courses with optional modules to tailor the course to suit your own interests. There's a great emphasis as well on independent study and research. So you get taught the subjects in class, then you're expected to go away and find out more using all the available learning resources at your disposal. This will take you slightly longer to do, on average 20 to 30 hours per week. Time management comes into play here. For as long as the work is done by the required time, you should have flexibility to do other things as well. Historically, of course, most, if not all, subjects included some form of academic field trips, and these could be from 1 day to a week or more, reinforcing study. And it's not just practical based courses that go on field trips, academic subjects will do too. If the course has a work placement option, whether physical or virtual, I personally would recommend that you take it. Why? Because employers look to applicants who have real life experience over those that don't have any. Even if that experience is just for a short time, it gives you a competitive edge. This year, and COVID restrictions aside, study abroad is another possibility where you can spend a term, semester, or even a full year on exchange with a partner institution somewhere else in the world. So learning your subject from a very different perspective. So here at Lincoln, we have strong partner links with institutions in the USA, Canada, Europe, and China. Teaching facilities are likely to be at the forefront of technology, both in the classroom, the practical facilities and learning resources. And finally, we have guest speakers and lecturers who are specialists in their field, coming in to talk to you or teach you and pass on their knowledge. For example, at Lincoln, we're very fortunate to have Jason Bradbury from the Gadget Show, or Chris Packham, for example, who are visiting academics. So how you learn and opportunities that you have are very different to school or college in many ways. You can ignore the year at the bottom of the screen. So this number here, we often show to students, and we ask prospective students what this £25,000 is referring to, and usually we get a number of responses. It's actually the average starting salary of a graduate in the UK. So new figures show that working age graduates earned £10,000 more than non-graduates in 2019 and had higher employment rates. Graduates earn £10,000 more per year than those who don't go to university, proving that a degree continues to be a rewarding investment. Okay. So is university right for you? Well, for any students that are watching this, the fact that you're here watching and engaging with this process is a good indicator of your interest, so that's great. You may all have already made up your mind either way, but if you're not sure, ask yourself the following questions and feel free to expand it if you want. So first of all, ask yourself, do I really enjoy studying and learning? Do I have a specific area of interest that I want to pursue? Does the idea of studying in an environment with experts and excellent resources appeal to me? Do I want to study and maybe live independently? Do I want an internationally recognized qualification? And finally, does the career I have in mind require a degree? If the answer is yes to the majority of these, then the likelihood is that university is right for you, okay? If that's split 50-50, then you might have a little bit more thinking to do. You could always take a gap year, which gives you a little bit longer to decide. Just a little bit now about student support. So personal tutors provide bespoke academic guidance and support for all students. They also provide signposting for pastoral care by student services and bespoke careers guidance. Staff at our student support centre are available as well to give impartial, confidential advice on funding, fees and payments, housing, visa and personal issues. So please don't think you'll ever be alone when you're at university. And for any parents who are kind of a little bit more worried about the support, we have a huge amount at university. Our team of professional staff at the Wellbeing Centre offer confidential support and advice on issues including disability, specific learning differences, mental health and medical conditions. The disability service, the counselling service and the chaplaincy service are all based on campus as well. We also have the University of Lincoln Health Service, which specialises in looking after students, and the team does include doctors, nurses and other healthcare professionals. And then finally, Lincoln Students' Union is an independent student-led organisation run on behalf of the University of Lincoln students, and it aims to provide students with the opportunities and support to enable them to develop your skills, gain valuable experience, meet new people, and make the most of your time whilst at university. So, as a university, we've actually put measures in place and adapted our facilities to ensure that we minimise the risk of COVID-19 transmission and enable a safe return to campus for our community. And this includes new measures for staff, students, and of course visitors to the campus. In line with the government advice to universities, we have made changes to our campus, and we've also implemented a blended learning approach, which means that we effectively will be combining online and face-to-face teaching with larger lectures delivered online and some smaller group sessions delivered face-to-face. Okay, so we're really having a two kind of approach. We've also adapted a number of our normal social spaces and practices to ensure that they're COVID and social distancing compliant. Our overall advice and guidance for safety on campus is always based on the government guidelines, and will be updated accordingly on our website. So please feel free to have a look, or you can ask us any questions in the chat function. So then just a quick recap. I mentioned that some of the professions require a degree and therefore university is the viable choice if you wish to follow certain career paths. I also mentioned that you can develop your professional and transferable skills at university. While you're here, you get the opportunity to try new things, meet new people, and gain independence. And you obviously now know that you can keep studying the subjects you enjoy the most, which will lead you to earning more in your career as well. And finally, that you will experience a different way of learning during your time here. So I've just included some other resources which hopefully you find useful. So the UCAS website, which you can kind of have a look at, university websites, so our own, which is www.lincoln.ac.uk. And then, of course, you can ask any questions to teaching or support staff at the school or college that you're currently at. And of course, if you want any information around student finance, you can find that on the gov.uk website. Thank you very, very much for watching and listening. I hope you found the information useful. I'm now going to hand over to Callum and Nat, who are going to talk to you a little bit about student life.
Thanks very much, Curtis. You just bear with us 2 seconds. Oh, we're on it. We've got Nat and Callum now about our student life. I'll hand over to you, Nat and Callum.
Hello, I think you should be able to hear me.
We can just hear you, Nat. Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi, Callum.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly. Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Hi everyone, my name's Callum. I'm a third year business and management student.
And hi, I'm Nat. I'm a third year biomed student. We're both student ambassadors at the University of Lincoln. And today we're going to be talking to you guys about student life, what it's actually like being at the university. So first of all, I'm going to say why I wanted to come to uni, and Callum will do the same afterwards. So at first I wanted to do medicine, and I realised it was 5 years, and that was too long. So I was like, you know what, let's change it. I don't want to spend that long at uni. So now I'm doing biomed instead. So that's kind of like the research and the background of medicine. And I also wanted to move away from home. So my home is Birmingham. So from Birmingham to Lincoln's 2.5 hours. So that's not too far away. It's not too close. So I can still visit my parents and my grandparents when I need to. Where it sounds cliche, but when I visited with my parents, we all loved it. So we all thought, you know, it was the perfect place for me to be. So yeah, that's why I chose to come to uni, and specifically Lincoln. And if you can't come and visit us, you can go and do the online tours on YouTube, and it'll be on our website as well.
Everyone, so for me, my reasons going to university, I actually started as a mature student, which is when you're 21. One of my friends previously studied here, who's now graduated, invited me down for the evening, and I just fell in love with the campus straight away, the environment, and got introduced to the program leads of the course I'm studying. Instantly, that made me reconsider my career path and made me want to go to university, but specifically Lincoln. Coming to Lincoln, it's been a fantastic experience, getting new skills, new knowledge, with a huge amount of support always here for you. And there is so much here you can do, and it's just about discovering yourself of who you are, and becoming the very best of who you want to be. And it's you know, it's been a life-changing experience for me ever since day one.
So the next point is, so when you come to uni, there's a few different things that your students will, well, you as a student and also parents will notice for when your child or yourself if you're coming to uni. So the differences between colleges or sixth form and the university, personally, the biggest one for me is the learning styles. So you have mostly lectures, and in the lectures, you basically have a lecturer just speaking at you, telling you the content for an hour or two, and then you take that into a smaller group, and then you have a bit more of an interaction with your lecturers then, and then from then you have to be independent, so you have to do your own research, your own readings and stuff like that as well. And independence is not only learning, it's also the cooking, the cleaning, the shopping. I always used to get my parents to do my shopping, but now parents can't help you when you're at uni. You have to do that for yourself when you're at uni, and that was the biggest shock for me.
So when you come to university, you can make loads of new friends from various ways from your course, and again joining sports, joining academic societies, joining a recreational society. So as previously mentioned, we've got like a Harry Potter society. We've even got a society that's called Breads and Spreads, where you get to try different bread and spreads every single time. We do fun quiz nights around that. The opportunities list here is beyond anything compared to college. University has fantastic connections across the UK and global, and it is a real advantage for making these key connections while at university, also for when you come to look for your graduate jobs as well. I've managed to gain so many contacts. I feel I've made the absolute most of what there is to offer here, but the list is endless.
Definitely, I agree with that. The next big question for students and parents, I think, for when you come to uni is, will I be able to afford it? So you should be able to. I mean, there's this thing called student loan, and I know that some of you might have already heard about it and some of you might not. So what you get with the student loan is in two parts. So the first part is your tuition fee. It goes straight to the uni. You don't even see it. It doesn't come into your bank account. But the other one is the maintenance loan. So for this one, you use the maintenance loan for your living. So it's the money that you get into your bank account. So that goes towards your accommodation, your food, your bills, and whatever else you want to spend your money on. So yeah, that's the gist of it. But you get that support from the government to help you to be able to go to uni. There's also bursaries and scholarships available. It doesn't have to be at Lincoln. I think most uni offers bursaries and scholarships. So I get a bursary to me because I'm the first member of my family to come to university. So I get that extra support, and also the scholarships are offered. It varies between each uni, but I know that Uni of Lincoln do scholarships where if you get really high grades at A levels, you get that scholarship to you. And Jane just asked, so does that mean you get a student loan and maintenance loan? So this maintenance loan is part of the student loan. So student loan offers you in basically two sums. So you get the tuition loan, which I explained, you don't see it, you go straight to uni, and the maintenance loan is what a typical student loan refers to.
Right.
Okay.
So in terms of the maintenance loan, I've found finding accommodation here at Lincoln to be really cheap, and we have just had a new accommodation built for students. There is a huge amount of options available. So if you want to go into a shared flat or if you want to go into a studio, there is plenty of options to suit everyone's needs. And again, as I mentioned by Nat, there is great financial support that the university does offer towards students. Again, like us, you can get jobs with the university. The Careers and Employability Centre can really help out a lot with CV work. posting jobs regularly to students and to help them find work around their hours. The Students' Union also posts jobs available. There is support along every way of the students. There's a lot of advice and guidance at university and the BSU offer to help students with budgeting, and we even have workshops as well that we do quite regularly.
Right, now we're going to give you a few tips of being first years at university, and how, like, not how to settle in, but a few tips on getting yourself settled in when you're at uni, if you do decide to come to uni. So my first big piece of advice would be to get budget savvy. I know Curtis has mentioned it already, but it's stuff like, sharing with friends when you go shopping. So like you might share a taxi fees for fares, for example, so you don't have to pay for it by yourself and carry all the shopping bags, which I had to do before. And take advantage of any student offers available. So when you go to shops, you can get student discounts. I don't tend to pay full price for anything, and that's just being a student. So yeah, that's kind of things that you can do. And with that as well, you can track your spending a lot more. So parents can help you, like the students do this. You can help them, starting to budget for themselves when they're at home, so they're well prepared for when they go to uni. And my parents, what they did to me was, my dad made me a Excel spreadsheet, so I can budget what I spend, what my bills are, so I know how much I have left at the end of each week to spend for myself when I want to go out. So that was really good of my parents. And you can always get a student bank account when you come to uni. So the student bank account offers, some of them do offer you some like incentives in a way. So I know one of the bank accounts offers you 4 years rail card. So if you are travelling, that's really good. You save that, it gives you 30% off your train fares. So you do end up saving quite a lot of money on that. And like what myself and Callum's doing now, you can also get a part-time job with the uni. So that can be your kind of income when you're at uni, so you don't have to rely on your student loans all the time, which I had to do for the first year, and that was shocking.
Over time, once you start to settle in, over the months go by, you start to understand where you're spending your money and how you can cut down costs. Cooking from scratch really helps, and you're going to explain. So going shopping with your friends and also cooking together. The meals can come down to as cheap as 90p to £1 a night, and they are really good meals. Also found a really good site, even college or sixth form students can access it. It's called Uni Days. You can use this now and also while at university, but it allows you to get very, very good discounts from a lot of major retailers and companies across the UK. So, for example, my phone contract, it's unlimited everything, and it's only £20 a month. There's also food as well. Get my laptop, I got 20% off from Apple. So it's well worth taking advantage of all the coupons and all the sites that exclusively offer discounts towards students, because they will be unique compared to other offers. Societies, really important. Again, it's about meeting as many new people as you can. More various places across the campus. We've got over 15,500 students here at the university. And my friends are a good mix from sports, so I do rounds at the weekend. I've got course mates who all join together the Business Society, which is one of the biggest academic societies here at the university. And again, I explained the part-time jobs as well. Get onto it straight away when it comes to university, because it gives you a more deep understanding how university works, and it's about making those connections. which I found the most valuable part of coming to university. And it really makes your university experience just one of a kind. And volunteering again as well, we have various opportunities in the SU and Game Connections provided by the Careers Employability Service. So you can do stuff for charities, you can do other causes as well. There is so much you can do at university. It's about what you want to do and what you would like to get out of it as a whole.
Yeah, definitely, I agree with that. It's always been my motto over the whole 3 years of uni. You know, what you put into it is what you get out of it. So the more you put into the learning, the more you get out of it, and the more you kind of interact, say, join societies, activities, having a part-time job. You know, some of my really good friends at uni are from work, so I know a part-time job is not necessary, but it breaks up the educational bit as well. So you do get a bit of time off in a way if you do have a part-time job. But yeah, I make the most of uni while you're here. 3 years has gone by really, really quickly, and
Definitely.
you know, I can't believe it's been 3 years already, and I'm in my final year, starting to write up my dissertation. It's so scary, but you know, it's so exciting. So yeah, definitely go out and explore the city that you go into, campus, make lots of friends. This time at uni will definitely be probably the longest time you'll have to meet so many different people. Especially in the first week, during Freshers Week and Welcome Week, you know, you get to meet your academic friends, and outside of that as well. Like I said, coming to uni is scary, but we do have a lot of support. So it's important to know that you're at uni, you're not alone. There's always someone there for you to speak to. One of my favourite is my librarian, and the employability skills, they are amazing. So the library is open 24 hours most of the time. So in there you can go, you have your subject librarian who you can get into contact with, and you can speak to them pretty much about anything in terms of finding stuff like that. And employability skills, so they help you find a part-time job, find a placement year, to find a job after you graduate, and you get support for it. I think 2 years after you graduate as well.
Yeah.
And you have the wellbeing centre, which if you are feeling a bit stressed, you can sort of go and speak to someone there. Same with the health service, which is also the NHS. Yeah, that's all I can think of. Anything else, Callum?
So we've also got the residential wardens here as well, who also look out to students. Again, interact a lot with the students to make sure they're doing okay, and provide them support. They're normally always around the campus, and they're very easily reachable. Again, we also have the students' union as well. They can also support you a lot with academic and well-being, and essay support. There's the services here at the university is more than I could have ever imagined. So I haven't used every service, but I always know there is someone to contact if I even need support for anything. I generally feel like I'm always been looked after continuously around the clock, and I think that's what makes Lincoln like home. There is always someone there for you, and it's been a really rewarding experience coming here.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's it from us. Thank you for listening to us. And if you do have any questions, pop it in the chat, or you can, if you are a student, you can message us on Unibuddy. So I'll be on there, Cal will be on there. There'll be other student ambassadors on there as well. I'll do the same courses in local you can talk to them. So yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Callum and Nat. I really appreciate that. It gave me a real insight into both of you actually, so it's really good. Thank you very much. We're now going to move on from students to an alumni, and we want to introduce Mary Frances McKay, who is one of our alumni. Just bear with us while we just do the transition to Mary. Thank you.
Hopefully everyone can hear me. I'm just going to have a go at sharing my camera. Hopefully this works. Okay. Can everyone see that? I don't know whether people can see that. Hopefully
Yeah,
people can
I
see
can
that.
see you. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. As it happens, I'm just sitting in front of an actual Lincoln post. That's not by, I'm not trying to like promote it or anything like that. It just happens to be in my house. So, okay, so as Emma has said, I'm Mary Frances McKay, and I was a student at the University of Lincoln between 2014 and 2017. And it's really nice to be asked back to sessions like these to talk about my experiences of studying here at Lincoln. So I'm going to give a little bit of a background to myself, talk about why I chose to go to uni and specifically to Lincoln, my experiences of studying at Lincoln and the wider experience of living in Lincoln, and then talk about what I'm doing now as a career. So I was born actually in Leicester and attended local schools there. And when I was doing my GCSEs, I didn't really think that I was suited to the university route, as I was actually struggling a little bit at school and struggling a little bit academically. So I didn't know what I wanted to do. But as it happened, I got good enough grades at GCSEs to get into a sixth form college, which allowed me to focus on subjects that I did probably enjoy the most, which were English, drama, politics, and history. And at college, for me, that was a transformation. I really loved the way of working. I loved the independence of the work, and I loved planning my own timetable. And when I was in year 12, it was my history teacher asked me if I was thinking of applying for university, and actually I'd never thought about it before. So it was really nice to be asked, and from there she encouraged me to go to a UCAS fair and to book onto some open days. So off I went all across the country to visit different universities, and the University of Lincoln was actually one of the last ones I visited. But I was so impressed with all the facilities and courses on offer there at the university. When I went into the history tour, because I sort of knew that I wanted to do history. That was the subject I was enjoying the most, and felt totally inspired by the lecturers and the options available. There were options to study abroad and to undertake work placements. I looked around the accommodation and found it to be really nice and close to campus, meaning I could have a lie-in every day and still make my lectures. I also found everyone to be really friendly, and all the students talked so positively about their experiences there. After I'd been to the university, I then made my way up to Steep Hill, which really is steep, for those who haven't been to the cathedral and castle, and just loved the whole feel of the city too. That visit really did make my mind that Lincoln was where I wanted to study. So in 2014, I did start at the University of Lincoln studying history, and in my first year lived in the on-campus accommodation, the Lincoln Court, which was really brilliant. As I mentioned earlier, it was perfect for just waking up and getting to the lectures really quickly. But it was also great as there was lots of support from the accommodation office, and I lived with some really nice people. If you do get the chance to come to Lincoln, I know it's not possible at the moment, but when you go through courts, it's a real sort of little community, to be honest. They call it the student village, and it is like that. So by the end of the year, I knew most of the people who were living there. And when I did move out of halls and into shared accommodation in a house in the community, I found people in Lincoln to be really welcoming and really looked out for us as well. And sometimes students have a reputation within a city as sort of being quite negative, and people think they're sort of negative to the city. But I found in Lincoln people to be overwhelmingly friendly and supportive, to the student population. So it was really, really good. I will talk in a minute about university life, but I thought I'd just start by talking about the course, the history course. And the course at Lincoln was brilliant, and one of the reasons I'd chosen it was because I'd been so inspired by the lectures on the open day, and from the moment I started on the course I knew I'd made the right choice. For example, on Freshers Week we were sent on a treasure hunt around the city with those on our course to find historical places of interest within Lincoln. We also had welcome sessions at the cathedral and castle, which was really inspiring. And the course itself, the history course, was incredibly varied throughout the 3 years, with lots of different options and modules to choose from. And I studied everything in the 3 years, from the Salem witch trials to the history of the Paris sewers. Some more studied abroad for a year, and some took on work placements. I was able to volunteer at Lincoln Castle for 2 years, which was an amazing experience and really did give me valuable skills for the workplace. And in your 3rd year, as sort of was touched on by the student ambassadors earlier, you're asked to write a dissertation, which is a long essay on a certain subject, and mine focused on the miners' strike of 1984. And my supervisor for my dissertation was an expert in this area, and so she gave me access to archives and interviews with miners, which I was able to use in my dissertation. And the lecturers at Lincoln are, especially on the history course, but on all of the courses as well, are real experts within their field. So, for example, my dissertation supervisor was also a historical advisor on Who Do You Think You Are? And another lecturer had been the advisor for the film Suffragette. So having access to their knowledge and support was brilliant. And one of the things that was sort of talked about earlier was around the mixture of lectures, seminars and independent study. And when you first arrive and you see all this free time, you think, brilliant, I have a line every morning and those sorts of things. But actually to have that balance between those lectures, seminar and independent study, I think at Lincoln they really got that balance just right. And actually you need the time for independent study. So away from the course, I spent my time at societies and activities, and I did work as a student ambassador as well. There are hundreds of societies and activities to join, and it can feel a little bit overwhelming when you first arrive. So I was involved with lots of different societies, and they're a great way to meet people with similar interests and really explore what you might want to do after university. I also worked as a student ambassador, which was a paid role and gave me opportunities to work on open days, at recruitment fair and at school visits. For me, this was one of the best experiences as a student, because you just develop skills in so many areas, such as public speaking, organisation, time management and leadership. And I really would recommend this opportunity to anybody. If your students are, and if your children are joining Lincoln, it's really brilliant. You can just join on the Freshers Week, and it's really, really good. So I would really recommend the university as well, because as I sort of talked about in terms of the city, at the university there's a really lovely community spirit that I noticed on my very first visit here. Everyone seemed to really care about one another and offer a lot of support. And I think when you first move away from home, as it is many people's first experience living away from home, it really is a really nice and safe campus. And I don't think when you first arrive you realise how important that is, but now looking back on, I always felt really safe. I knew people were looking out for me, and also I think it was a comfort to my parents as well, knowing all of that. So in 17 I did graduate. I made it to the end, and you get to graduate in the amazing Lincoln Cathedral. I don't think there'll be many moments like that in my life, where you get to walk across the stage in such a historic venue, and to hear people cheering for you. All of the hard work, late nights and long library sessions were worth it for that moment. The graduation days really are a highlight of the university experience and make it all really worthwhile. And so when I finished university, it was I had to apply for jobs, and in the same way as I didn't really know that I wanted to go to university, I didn't know what I wanted to do as a job. I just knew that I had to get a job. I moved back to Leicester, back to home, and found that my local council were recruiting for graduates for their graduate scheme. A lot of local authorities have these graduate schemes. There's also a national graduate scheme. And so I interviewed for that, and they were specifically looking for people with degrees such as history, geography, and English. And the reason for that was they were looking for people who had skills in things like writing long essays, interpreting data, and good presentation skills. So although I'm actually not working with my degree, I'm not actually doing history every day. I'm using those skills every day. And I've now worked at the council, Leicester City Council, for 3 years, starting first as a graduate project officer in children's services, and now a project officer within the same service, just with a different team and with some more responsibilities now. I work on projects related to children in care and those on the edge of care, and it does seem a long way from a history degree, but I'm actually using it every day in my work, in writing reports, in interviews with children and families, and in preparing direct work tools for conversations with young people. I get to help some of the most vulnerable people in Leicester, and every day is different at work. The skills you learn at university have really set me up for working life. So the things I mentioned about your sort of things like your time management, writing and reading, and interpersonal skills. The experiences of interviewing the minors has helped me with interviews that I do with families who are at a crisis point. I really prepare what I'm going to say, carefully considering what I can do to make the interview pleasant. And I do think that having a degree and those skills from a degree really do set you apart from other people, as you just have such a great set of skills that you can just, and they're so transferable to a lot of jobs now. The only thing was for me a little bit of a shock when I had to work from 9 to 5 every day, with only a little break in between, but I soon got used to that. And people do ask you, and I think it now even more so with a lot of unemployment, does a degree help you, and do you even need one? But for me, it just has been so helpful, and I just wouldn't have these skills, I wouldn't have the confidence. And yeah, and I think that when I went to university, I felt very unsure of myself, didn't have very much confidence, and I really had no idea what I wanted to do. But when I left university, I had a degree, a graduate job. I left with some really good friends who I still see a lot of the time, who from university, and so much more. So yeah, I couldn't recommend university enough to people, and I hope you choose Lincoln because it's a brilliant place to study. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm hoping that I can share myself, but I'm not sure if I can. So bear with me. Thank you. I have no idea if you can see me or not. So there we go. Oh yes, yes. So thank you so much to everybody. Thank you. Thanks, Steve. Thank you so much for all of our presenters this evening. Now is your chance to ask us questions, please. If there's something that you would like to know as a Year 12, first year student, then please let us know that as well. These evenings, as we know, are becoming sort of almost the normal now. And so what we want to do is make them as informative as possible for you. So your feedback, along with any questions that you have this evening, is extremely welcome to us all. We would really, really like that if possible. So if we've pitched it right, or if actually we've missed something and you want to know something else, I have picked up already that obviously the application process and the UCAS sort of cycle is obviously vital for you as students, so that you know what you're doing and where to go and where to point to get this information. Something that I would add is that University Open Days are vital. Whilst we can't do them in person at the moment, we are offering virtual open days, and our next one at the University of Lincoln is the 14th of November, running from sort of 10 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. And for that one, we've also got Caroline Duffy that's joining us, the previous Poet Laureate. But please ask the questions along the side now, so that we can absolutely answer everything that you want to know this evening. If we have answered everything, then that's fine. We will share this presentation. If you've got anybody else that would like to see it, then please do so. Mark has very kindly added lots and lots of links that might be really welcome to you all. They are all about the scholarships and bursaries that are available, sort of fees and funding, also careers after university, so all of those sort of things. And so I'll give you a couple of minutes to sort of have a look at those for a second, and then you may have questions. So I'll shut up for a second so that you can pick those up. Thank you. What I will add is that if there are any further questions that you have, which is highly possible during this journey, and you are very new into being sort of a year 12 and life getting back to school and college is very different as it is, we are here all the time. So we've got Unibuddy, which I suggest that the students sign up to. That means that you can actually speak to students like Callum and Nat online all the time. And if you go onto our website and click chat with the student, you can do that. So if you've got questions you want to raise now, you can raise with the students on a peer-to-peer basis. And if you want to contact us on inquiries@lincoln.ac.uk at any point, then please do that as well. And we can answer those questions at any time at all. Thank you very much, Mark. And ringers, we are here. As you can see, I'm here, Gareth's here. We're on campus. We are, you know, despite the lockdown, as you know, at schools, colleges, and universities are still sort of offering education, and we're still here, and we're offering sort of face-to-face throughout the COVID sort of scenario that we're all in. And so we are here as well. So even if we are virtual or on campus, we are here to pick up the phone and pick up emails. So please do that. So we've got a question. Thank you, Julia. My daughter has chosen I'm just quickly reading it. Level 3 qualification is the equivalent to A-level. So we at the University of Lincoln will accept a range of level 3 qualifications. So be that BTEC, applied sort of science, A-levels, Cambridge Nationals, International Baccalaureates, all the whole range, EPQs, all sorts of things we will accept. What I suggest you do is have a look on our website at the course pages that I think Mark put on earlier, and you can then click on entry requirements just to double check. Applied science is something that we do accept for most of the programs that we offer. Thank you very much, Mark. Thanks. Anything else, Steve? What we're going to do is we have recorded this session, so it is recording currently, and what we will do is send, because you've registered for this evening, then we can send that out to you via your email address. Taking an EPQ will not lower your entry requirements, but what it will do is add to your overall tariff. So ultimately what we will ask you to do on our sort of entry requirements is for a typical offer for the University of Lincoln is a BBC at A level. If you've got an EPQ, that will give you tariff points, UCAS tariff points. When it comes to confirmation and A-level result day, those EPQ points will add to your overall offer. So it is advisable to do an EPQ if you can manage to do it and your school does offer it. And it also helps immensely with sort of research. So it's a good transition to university doing an EPQ if your schools do that. Thank you, Nat, for an EPQ, absolutely. And if your school offers it, most schools do offer it, but if they do, and we can help alongside schools with assistance with sort of research skills as well, along with your EPQ. So if you do, then it is advisable if you can do it, and you've got the capabilities of doing it. Any other questions? No further questions? Thank you so much then. I think if we can round off the evening. For me, a massive thank you to all of our presenters this evening, and thank you so much for everybody else that has sort of been in, sort of sat it out for the last hour. Really appreciate you being here, and we will follow up with all of you that have sort of been here this evening, and also we will have more. So we will follow up sort of later in your sort of journey of year 12, your first year. We will follow up, so please keep tuned to your school. We will send things out to the school and put things onto our website, so please don't be a stranger, and we will contact you with the next instalment on this sort of higher education journey. So thank you so much, everybody, and good night.